Using the link in the description to get your first month completely free, HIDIVE lets you watch hundreds of anime TV series, uncensored content, OVAs, and live-action shows on PCs, mobile phones, and consoles. It has a diverse library of exclusive content, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and Big O, including dubbed content on a regular basis. Click the link in the description for more. It almost took me 10 months, but after finishing Stardust Crusaders, it's time to once and for all discuss the series in a more thorough way. This is my review for Stardust Crusaders Parts 1 and 2. So please enjoy, and remember that these are simply my opinions, and in no way do I intend for what I say to be taken as an objective fact. If you enjoy my Jojo videos, I also would like to urge you to leave a like on this video. YouTube determines my worth and value with one like and comment. It helps me more than just handing me $100. That sounds ridiculous, but that's actually true. After a stand awakens in Holly Kujo, Joseph Joestar's beloved daughter, it is revealed that the stand will end her life in 50 days if nothing is done. Joseph Joestar and Holly's son, Jotaro Kujo, Joseph's grandson, then make their trip to Egypt to end the life of Dio, who is responsible for Holly's stand awakening. With just 50 days, with a little help from their friends, Avdol, Kakyoin, Polnareff, and Iggy will try to save Holly's life. This is Stardust Crusaders. David Productions returns to produce the anime based off the manga of the same name by Hirohiko Araki and is directed by Naokatsu Suda and Kenichi Suzuki, the latter directing the abysmal Fairygon, which is basically a ripoff of Stardust Crusaders. The series is completely faithful to the original manga and spans 48 episodes, broken up into 24-episode seasons. You can watch the anime on Crunchyroll, Verve, and for free on Viz.com site. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has been known for its unique style of storytelling. With its unique world, setting, characters, dialogue, and music, JoJo is a one-of-a-kind anime that likely will never be able to be recreated. Enter Stardust Crusaders, which saw the setting take a drastic flip, with it primarily being set in Egypt. A unique setting and not often explored by anime. JoJo had the opportunity to really expand its game and explore in detail this setting, but that may be wishful thinking, as Stardust Crusaders doesn't necessarily deliver on its promises as much as the previous JoJo anime do, in particular, battle tendency. While Stardust Crusaders has plenty of strengths, which we will talk about in just a moment, the majority of this anime is Monster of the Week, and kinda, I'm about to get shanked here, but boring. While there were plenty of episodes I enjoyed, don't get me wrong, out of the 48 or so episodes I watched, only 15 or so I actually really liked. I think this is in another case of Stardust Crusaders and JoJo as a whole showing its age. Like when I talked about in my video of Phantom Blood being incredibly dated, I think Stardust Crusaders is also one of those. While not being as dated as Phantom Blood, it's still showing its age. There's nothing wrong with that. To me, I felt 48 episodes was way too much for a story like this one. It felt like they were padding out a lot of episodes to explore the stand mechanic, which is fine, but ultimately not doing anything interesting with it. Not that stands are bad, I love stands a lot, but Stardust Crusaders just doesn't implement them well enough to be notable in this day and age. Basically, I'm saying the delivery mechanic is not as good as it should have been. And once again, don't get me wrong, I understand how influential JoJo and Stardust Crusaders is. I'm not denying that at all. But this is a case where anime has sort of moved on from this style of storytelling. And if this anime came out 20 years earlier, which there are multiple versions and adaptations of Stardust Crusaders you can find, I reviewed one such version, links in the description, I would easily say this anime is amazing and probably even ahead of its time. But we're not in the year 2000, we're in 2019. But here is where Stardust Crusaders excels at. And that's entertaining fights, and mostly just the whole second season. Iggy, Best Stats Maria, Whole Horse, Darby, Oingo and Boingo, Pet Shop especially, Vanilla Ice, and of course, Dio. The second season of Stardust Crusaders is easily the best thing about this series. While the first season lacked and sorta dragged on, season 2 was a whole different experience, my friends. Everything from season 2, pretty much, was highly entertaining besides a couple of episodes here and there. As an example, the pet shot fight with Iggy is one of my favorite moments in this show as a whole. I could name more, like Whole Horse and Boingo teaming up. It's moments like these and much more I won't mention that makes JoJo so fun and entertaining. Season 2 of Stardust Crusaders is JoJo firing on all of its cylinders, and while it still has some issues, it's great fun, and at the very least, pretty fun. Much like previous seasons of JoJo, there is more than meets the eye to these characters. Joseph returns from Battle Tendency, and he's easily one of my favorites in this show. He's much like the JoJo we know from the previous installments, but this time he's older and more experienced and also just a tad bit more goofy. But the characters I like the most in this anime are easily Iggy and Polnareff. I just released 2 videos on these characters, which I highly recommend you check out. But other than those two, Jotaro is a great addition to this series. The son of Holly Kujo, Jotaro is one of my favorites because he just reeks coolness. Also, he has interesting character traits like calling Holly a bitch, which I do not condone. Nobody calls Holly a bitch. She's a wonderful mother, and it's not because of any other reasons why I like her so much. You can cringe now. Anyways, the characters are very solid. I enjoyed all of them, and I think they're just really good. Not much to say here because I've kind of went over a lot of these characters previously in my other JoJo videos. David Productions returns to produce Stardust Crusaders, and once again, they do it justice. Stardust Crusaders looks fantastic and timeless, which is a massive statement because the series is already decades old at this point. So, for David Productions to come in and add their own secret sauce to it, well, that's an accomplishment. As for character designs, they continue the classic JoJo trend of muscular men with massive muscled up bodies, which, not gonna lie, looks extremely dated in this day and age, but it's not a big deal at all because it's JoJo, and if you could get through the first season, you'll get through Stardust with ease. And finally, the backgrounds are fantastic, and they nail the feeling of Egypt pretty well. And I've never been to Egypt, of course. I was surprised, just honestly, of how great the backgrounds looked in general. Much like the art, Stardust Crusaders has fantastic animation. Every single moment in this anime is animated so well. One of my favorites is Bastet's Maria, which is already a fan favorite, but I loved how they animated that episode. Otherwise, this is your normal JoJo affair, and not much different between the previous seasons. It's really good. I mean, it's David Productions. What more can you expect? The music and score in this series is done by Yugo Kanno, who started with JoJo on Stardust Crusaders. Besides this, he had worked on things like Ninja Batman and Grand Crest Senki. His score in this is pretty solid though I wouldn't say JoJo's score is really anything that people focus on most of the time anyways. It's one of those classic scores which serves its purpose, but there aren't too many times where I've been blown away by it. It's only really until those last 5 or 6 episodes that I was really starting to notice it. Otherwise, it's a good score, just not the most interesting score, despite it being pretty good. So because I like to be open-minded and fair, unlike many other people out there in my JoJo comments ragging on people who like to watch anime dubbed, I'm going to go against that particular grain and say the dub here is pretty damn great. But like its sub-counterpart, the dub captures the over-the-top and cheesy delivery of the original so well. Joseph Joestar is the best example of this. He sounds fantastic in this dub. Also, Matthew It's Noon Mercer as Jotaro Kujo is a fantastic choice, and I can't see Jotaro any other way. Dio as well has a fantastic dub actor in Patrick Seitz. He's voiced this character prior. Simply put, the dub for JoJo is exceptional, and a great alternative to the Japanese version if you don't like reading subs. In closing, Stardust Crusaders is one of the weaker JoJos I've seen. While not as outdated as Phantom Blood, it kind of only edges that out for me. Still, at the time of this writing, I have not seen all of JoJo yet, and I would put this below Battle Tendency, which is still my favorite JoJo so far. As for a recommendation, it's quite hard to recommend Stardust Crusaders. Its massive 48 episode length does no favors, and the fact that it's almost always a Monster of the Week formula doesn't help at all. But if by chance you've seen season 1, I mean, you might as well give it a shot to see if you like it. This is the JoJo that got me into JoJo after all, so if it worked for me, hey, it might work for you. So, with that being said, as always, please make sure to give this video a like. Make sure to comment, what are your thoughts on Stardust Crusaders? Click on some of these videos if you find them interesting. And remember, I have a Patreon where on the $1 tier and above, you get access to everything on Patreon. So thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.